This is my 10,000 points army of Chaos Knights, and we will have a detailed view of all of the miniatures in the army.
It's over 9,000!
This army has already been featured on Warhammer Community before, so I will link you the article in the description, and I will scroll through the article if I manage to use OBS to record that here. And the funny thing was, I brought all of the knights in 2 big plastic boxes, and one of my friends, John, helped me to drive them to Games Workshop. Thank you again for that, John. And I brought them in, and then the photographer said, "There is no way I can take pictures of all of these knights." I said, "Yes, no worries. Just take some of the smaller ones and some of the big ones you like, and then it's fine, because all of this, taking pictures of this would have taken him a week or something." So he said, "Yeah." I said, "Just pick some. It's fine." And they were featured on Warhammer Community, as I said. And yeah, that was cool. I started this army about 2018, so 6 years ago, roundabout, and I kept adding more stuff to it, and I have so many of these war dogs, the Armiger knights now. It's insane. So House Makabius earned the favor of Horus Lupercal, and that's they helped them in a battle, and then they earned the Eye of Horus and added it to the heraldry. So all of my knights have the Eye of Horus somewhere. So for example, on this Lancer, you can see it here on the shoulder pad. Unfortunately, for the house, not Horus himself called them, but Mortarion of the Death Guard. So they added the Night House to Mortarion's Dread Fleet, and that is when the corruption of the house really started. So most of my knights are not converted that much. In the beginning, I wanted to get a lot of them finished, and as you know, it's not the heresy of your spikes on your armor and your mutation that counts. It's the heresy and the hatred to the Corpse Emperor you feel inside of your heart. It's really important. So when they received the first knight armors, many of their house turned freeblade and went into the crusade to gain glory already, because it would have taken them, it already took decades for them to do anything, because they didn't get new knight armors. So some of the freeblades left earlier, and in my house, I only have one freeblade for now, but I've added one, and this is one of the earlier ones that left, and this one is converted with 2 guns of a basilisk on top, and this one is really mutated. You can see the Chaos Knight legs and all of the cables that have sprung up here, and the demonic glow inside of the knight armor as well. And the knight came back, but there was no pilot anymore, so they bound a demon inside of that knight armor, and you can see the glow up here. I will show you a detailed view of that as well. Most of the knights are not converted yet, but I will add more crazier conversions in the future, and I have some crazy plans, and I've already done some of them. So this is one of them. This is I just call it Gunface, because it has that giant plasma reactor that is a building, and it uses it as his face, and the face is the gun at the same time. So yeah. This is a fun conversion. I didn't need the arms for this one, so I have some spare arms as well I can use for some future conversions. And one of my favorite ones that I've added first, I call this one, is more of a mockery now than it is a real name of honor. It is called Sword of Purity, and it has a sword on its knight shield here, the tilt shield. And the Sword of Purity, the armor has some minor conversions. So, for example, it has a double Gatling gun that is from the Forge Fiends, and the face is one of these unfortunately discontinued Forge Red heads, and the rest is pretty much stock as far as I can tell now. But yeah, I only converted this one. But this one, the cool thing about this one is you can take the Gatling gun off, and then I magnetized it, so you can take the melter gun there as well. Melter gun like this, but I prefer to have it with the double Gatling, so that's what it is equipped, and they're all magnetized, so I can remove some bits, and I can even add a second gun to the other side, or whatever I want, or I can add a sword. So I have some magnetized bits, but on my later stuff, I think I will not do any magnetization anymore, because I have so many now that it doesn't really matter. I can just bring whatever. So there is another one that and this one was fun to paint, not as much fun to build, because this is a forge-built resin model, and if I ever drop this will explode in a million pieces, because it's really heavy in its resin. And this is my Porphyrion Knight. I made a custom base for that. That is made from I think it's from an Amazon cake plate that is made out of see-through plastic, and it was the perfect size for that. And this one is called Baroness, because it's first really honorable scion that piloted it was a Baroness, and the knight armor in honor of her when she died in one of her most furious battles, the knight armor was called Baroness in her honor. And then I have another one. I have a Lancer as well. The Lancer is more on the chaosy side, more spikes, and I've made some horns here and some of the hanging cables made out of green stuff milliput 50-50 mixture, and I have some chaos inscriptions as well. And I'm more and more drifting into the corruption of the chaos, so the future ones I will convert are more and more crazy, and I've already done one of the craziest ones. This is Noctilith Crown is a building, and I added it to the top of the knight, and the knight has some nice cabling here as well. And it also has no arms anymore. And this one is Knight Abominant, and the Knight Abominant has these what is it called, the flail, and this counts as this flail, and this is basically the gun. And it has really big feet as well, because it has to have this big chaos portal here, and I had to add these pieces of slate to the base, because it was really top heavy and was falling over all the time, and I really like slate on my bases anyway, so I added some heavier bits to weigh it down. And this one is really heavy as well, and it's really hard to transport, but it's a really fun bit. So a little fun fact about this one, I built this one and painted this one for White Dwarf, because White Dwarf had it was a city battle article they did a few years ago, and they wanted some converted miniatures, and I said, I want a knight with 2 basilisk guns on his shoulders, would you want that? And they said yes. So I said, okay, cool, I will build it and paint it. And problem was, I was on holiday before the end date, and I was able to build it and paint the base, but I didn't paint the miniature. So what I did was I painted this 14 hours marathon painting session in one day. And then on the next day, they had the deadline, so I gave the guys in White Dwarf, gave them the model, and they never printed it. So that was fun. Yeah. That was a little bit disappointing, but yeah, whatever. Sometimes they cannot print something, and they wanted some more Kill Team-esque units, and mine was probably a little bit too big. I'm not sure why, but yeah. And I'm still adding miniatures to the collection, of course, and I have Knight Abominant here that I've converted up a little bit. It has a little bit of a chaos, like a little arm here, and I converted the spikes a little bit so they look a bit more the attacking side, not just like wobbling around. And I removed some of the spikes on the back and added some rivets here. That was a nice conversion, and this one will be one of the next ones I do. This one is not 100% weathered yet, so I have to weather this one first. So some Nylock oxide and some rust and some stuff like that on that one. So, but it's already playable like this, and it will also get some transfers too. So some of the heraldry on the legs and stuff like that. And I added a lance already, and I will add a Night Castigator, of course, and a Night Acheron, of course, in the future as well. I already have them, they're still in the box. But I have to build them and convert them. And I want to go with a conversion similar to this one, so some of these nice cables. I will probably go a little bit more crazy on these. But yeah, that are some plans for the future, and this army will grow even bigger. And I'm not really sure if there is a limit to it. And I want to do some freeblades and some other crazy conversions like this Chaos Portal here. And some of my latest war dogs have more spiky bits as well, because I know you could. If you like Chaos, you probably love spikes as well. And my army, the plan for the army is that most of them have not been in Mortarian's Dread Fleet for that long. So they slowly start to corrupt, and these are the ones that have not been mutated that much. And then some of them are already way beyond savings, like this one or this one. And then when I add future war dogs, they will be even crazier, and I will just go nuts on them. And if you like spikes, like and subscribe.